Sure. Sure, wala pong audio.
Sir, wala pong audio teacher.
Okay. Do I have my audio now?
Opo, sir.
Yes,
Okay, again.
teacher.
Let's get back. Napindot siguro. Okay, again. So, let us begin again with system unit. System unit is the computer casing of your computer desktop. So, it protects the elements inside from the outside harsh environment. So, it is screwed. The main board is screwed to your system unit for protection. Now, also, data drive, your data drive, the common data drives used today is the hard disk drive as well as your solid state drive. So the hard disk drive is based upon the concept of the vinyl record, wherein you have a cylinder that is spinning around and a needle that is reading the data. So that's the same as your hard disk drive. If you open this up, you will see that there's a cylinder that is rotating at some umaabot ng 7,200 RPMs or revolution per minute. Ganon kabilis magbasa. However, it is not as fast as your solid state drive because the benchmark states that it is 10 times faster than that of your hard disk drive. So if you want a faster PC, you go for solid state drive. And you buy another hard disk drive so that yung mga personal files mo, you put it in here. Yung operating system mo, dito mo ilalagay sa solid state drive mo. So this is another type of solid state drive. This is the second generation solid state drive. Okay, so let's now proceed with the power supply. The power supply, of course, supplies power to the components like the motherboard, the data drives, as well as your processor. Now, it has two different connectors, the Molex. Ngayon, ang mga sinasaksak na lang sa Molex ay yung mga CPU fans or system unit fans. As well as yung SATA naman, this is the connector, power connector for your disk drives or data drives. Now, you need an external power source, which is the AVR, to protect your power supply from power surge. Like for example, merong lightning surge o biglang fluctuating power. Like for example, nagkaroon ng power, nawala, nag-brown out. So, nakakasira ng electronic components yun. So, you need to have an AVR or the automatic voltage regulator para to maintain a consistent voltage to your power supply. Now, also meron ng tinatawag na uninterruptible power supply. In our case, meron kasi kaming file server. And if you have to put many files, you have to buy a disk drive, di ba? Last time we've already discussed that disk drives are much cheaper. Okay? So however, nakakasira sa hard disk drives if you are not properly shutting down your computer. Suppose nawala ng kuryente, running yung PC mo. So, the files there may be corrupted. Pwede siyang mawala, pwede siyang makorrupt. When we say corrupted, nakikita mo siya pero hindi mo na mabuksan. Sasabihin niya, the file is corrupted. So, mawawalang kabuluhan yung mga files mo. So, to avoid that, you need a uninterruptible power supply. You need a UPS. UPS basically is a big battery backup for your computer. Now, if the power, kunyari, power suddenly, there is no source of power, nag-brown out. So what the UPS does is to provide power. It automatically switches to battery power. And it provides power to your computer probably mga around a few minutes, which is a proper enough time for you to properly shut down your server or your computer ninyo. So if you really want to protect your files in your desktop computer, now yung laptop naman, the good thing about the laptop is meron na siyang built-in battery. So it doesn't happen to your battery. Kaya UPS is for desktop and mga servers. So you use a UPS for that. Also, so mainboard. Mainboard is one of the most important thing in your computer system because it connects all the essential computer parts. Like for example, the CPU, the memory or your RAM, your VGA card or your graphics card rather. And also, it is where the ports are connected. Some motherboard, built-in na sa kanila yung graphics at saka audio. Kaya kahit hindi ka na bumili, mapapansin mo, meron ng VGA port or HDMI port in your motherboard. So let us zoom this up. So in your motherboard here, may makikita na kayong USB. Yung parang gold there na makikita nyo is actually an antenna connector for your Wi-Fi. You have your Ethernet or LAN port o yung network port mo, internet port. You have your USB or your universal serial bus for your devices nowadays. You have your sound ports. So yung pink, it must be your microphone. Green, always, it's your speaker. Blue, it's your line in. Line in pala, guys, is a way. For example, it's one way to if you want to record, if you have a mixer and you want to transfer audio from your mixer going to your computer, if you want to edit that, so yung kulay blue na nakikita nyo is your line-in port for your audio. And the rest, yan na yung mga rare port, for, if it supports Dolby surround sound, center speakers, rear speakers, and so on and so forth. You also have your CPU there. So kung makikita nyo, sorry. So there, this is the part where you put your CPU. This is the part where you plug your memory or RAM. This is the part where you plug in your graphics card. Okay, itong part na to ay yung SATA. This is your SATA data connector where you put or you plug your data drives, data connection. Okay? So there are different form factors or size. Basically, form factor is the size of your motherboard depending upon your requirements. Kung gusto mo, apat, you can have as much as 4 memory RAM modules in your motherboard. So you go for standard ATX. If you want only 2, you get the micro ATX. Mini ATX, you only get 1 memory module. Nano, ito yung mga usual na mga computers for all-in-one computers. Use Nano ITX. Minsan nakakabit na lang siya sa likod ng monitor mo. Kaya ganyan kalaki lang yun. Maliit yan. Halos kasing laki lang ng square siya. Kasing laki lang ng kamay ninyo. But the Pico ITX is much smaller. And it is used for devices, mechanical devices. Like for example, yung turnstile. Do you still remember the turnstile here in MCA? Yung mga turnstile merong mini computers or ang tawag dyan, embedded computers. Ganyan, maliit lang yan. So merong naka-install na Pico ITX computer in our turnstiles wherein it reads your RFID card, if it checks kung nasa database, if is in the database, ini-enable niya yung turnstile, so makakalusot ka. So that's your Pico ITX. It's so small. Specifically, ang nagpo-provide niya ngayon, ang may Pico ITX in our time is yung Raspberry Pi. You can check it out. Raspberry Pi. Now, let's have a survey. Suppose, which CPU brand do you prefer? So can you please go to menti.com and use the code 857-3064 so that we can check kung ang inyong, if ano ba ang mas preferred brand ng mga tao when it comes to your, wait lang ha. Wait. Wait lang ha. I need to reset this. Okay, reset results. Okay, wag mo na kayo Okay. So it is now ready for voting. You can now vote. Let's check. So again, the link is 857-3064. And let us see it in real time. What CPU brand do you prefer? So 12, AMD 6, kawawa naman si AMD. Intel is short for intelligence. AMD is short for, or acronym of, Advanced Micro Devices. So how many are we? 6, 7, it's 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 42. Are we 42 all in all? Class secretary? We are 42 here in excellence.
41 po plus
41.
kayo po 42.
Okay, so 41. Okay, so 25 plus 9, 34. Where are the other 6, 7? So 36, 37. Where are the 4 more? So looking at our trend, so basically, can anyone tell me kung sino bumoto ng Intel? Why did you choose Intel? Why did you choose, rather, Intel? Who wants to share? Wala? Bumoto kayo? Okay, si Miss Narido, ano binoto mo?
Sir, Intel po.
Why?
Sir, kasi usually po, ang gamit po kasi ng mami ko po na sa office po niya is Intel. Sabi daw po niya kasi maganda daw po yun for sa pagkakaano po ng computer. Kasi yun po talaga yung gamit din po ng tita ko po din, pati na mami ko. Intel brand po talaga yung gusto nilang ginagamit sa...
Thank you. Yung buong mag-anak pala ni Miss Narido ay pamilya ng mga Intel. Okay. How about AMD? Can anyone give me an idea why you chose AMD?
Ako po.
Sino yan? Magpakilala kayo.
Permission to speak sa Magaysay.
So Magaysay. Sige. Next time, di ba, ang house rule ko, you tell me your surname. So Magaysay, permission to speak. Sige. So, Sir Magaysay, proceed.
AMD po kasi ako, kaya AMD po.
Hindi kita marinig. Ulit.
Naka-AMD po ako na CPU.
Ano daw? Ulit. Sige. 1, 2. Lalakasan ko nga yung audio ko. Hindi kita maintindihan eh. O, game. Ulit.
Naka-AMD po ako na CPU, kaya po AMD.
AMD ang CPU mo. What model? Ryzen what?
Ryzen 5 3400 chip po.
Ano raw?
Ryzen 5 3.
Ryzen 5. Oh, sige, sige. Okay, let us compare the two. Thank you for your inputs. Now, since AMD is a fairly new player when it comes to desktop computing processor. So probably around 2000. Ang Intel 1960s pa lang, si Intel meron ng Intel. So bata-bata pa si AMD. And si Intel is much since it is matandang company na, most of yung marketing niya mas mahal. So basically meron siyang wide market base. So yung kanyang presyo mahal. Pero yung mga hobbyists, sabihin na natin, or yung mga lalo ngayon, yung mga nag-a-assemble ng computer, if you really know how to look, AMD really is much cheaper. And mga bagong reviews ngayon, ang AMD is mas pumapantay na sa bilis ng Intel. However, in my own opinion, kung sa bilis lang, halos parehas sila. But the thing is this, ang bus at saka kotse, so pwedeng ang bus saka kotse magpantay ng bilis. But yung dami ng kanyang tao. So the bus can handle more passengers while of course a car can handle only few passengers. That's how Intel and AMD works. Posibleng parehas sila ng bilis, but Intel can handle more tasks. Mas heavy duty siya. Kaya nga, if you really want for workstation, kunyari, if you want it to use or to create a computer for your workstation, you want multitasking needs, go for Intel. If you are a gamer and you really know what you are doing with your computer, go for AMD because it's really much cheaper. Okay? So those yun yung mga payo ko. Payo ni Kuya Bjorn for if you want to assemble your computer. Now, the hierarchy. So bakit natin kailangan malaman yung hierarchy? Because if you want to buy a processor, you need to know from the budget. It depends upon your budget and your speed requirements. Celeron, pinakamabagal, Pentium, mid-class, and Core, yun yung kanilang higher performance class na processor. So Core i3, Core i5, meron ng Core i9. Athlon, on the other hand, meron mga A3, A4, A5, Ryzen. Yung Athlon, Pentium class yon. Yung Ryzen naman, siya yung ginagamit na pangtapat sa Core. Kaya yung Ryzen 5 ni Mr. Sumagaysay kanina, katumba siya ng Core i5 na bilis. So that's how it works. Now, I have here a real, let me share to you my screen. Let me share my mobile cam. Where are you? Sorry. Yeah. So let me spotlight that for everyone. Okay. So this is a processor. So it's actually Pentium 4. Probably around nung 2005. Mga 5 years old pa lang kayo. So, as you can see, there is a gold. Yung mga connectors niya ay gold-plated. It's really not gold, but it's gold-plated. Bakit gold-plated? Because gold is the most conductive element. Next is silver. Next is probably platinum, then copper. So, yun yung mga conductivity. So, you need a very conductive connector para yung electronic signals hindi magkaroon ng loss ng signal. That's why you have a gold connectors, hindi lang sa processor but also in your memory, yung mga saksakan, yung connector part ng inyong memory and your video cards. Now, let's move on to your okay, so later on, I'll be giving you idea on how to upgrade your CPU. Suppose you want to upgrade from Celeron to Pentium to Core. So what should you check para maging compatible yung inyong bibiling na parts? So next is the CPU fan and heatsink. So it protects your CPU from overheating. Now it can go as much, if you leave it uncooled, your CPU can go as high as 100 degrees Celsius, which is actually the boiling point of water. And from there, kapag umabot na ng 100 degrees Celsius, mag-overheat na yung inyong processor, masisira na siya. So what you need to do is to always monitor your computers. That is why you need this application. It's called Core Temp. Let me share that to you in my screen here. So this Core Temp here is monitoring my my processor. And currently my maximum so my temperature right now is what? Maximum temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. So kapag umaabot na ng 80, actually that is not healthy. So to make up for it, kailangan ko ng cooler. So I have a cooler here. Pwede mong i-double check sa Lazada kung merong nabibiling mga coolers. In my laptop here, I think this is, it provides cooling for my laptop. So always double check. Kasi kung hindi, ang mangyayari dyan ay bigla na lang mamamatay yung computer nyo if it overheats. At kapag palagi nangyayari yun, hindi na magbubukas ang computer nyo. Okay? So, next is your CPU fan and heatsink. So, I have here a CPU fan and heatsink. Let me share this back again. So this is your CPU fan and this is your heatsink. This is made up of metal alloy that absorbs your heat. Kaya malamig siya actually. Malamig siya. And nakapatong dito yung yung CPU nyo. So this is how it works. So what it does is ina-absorb niya yung heat coming from your CPU. Then kung mapapansin nyo, there are air pockets around your heatsink, uh, which in turn, it lets the air pass through here para pag nag-blow yung CPU fan going out, the heat is dissipated into the air. Okay? So it moves, the airflow here is going here, going out to keep your CPU cool. Now also, so let's move on with your okay, so random access memory. Your random access memory is a data storage. Actually, ang data drives at ang memory ay data storage. However, this is a temporary storage because it works only if the power is on. Unlike the data drive, kapag walang kahit na walang power, nakastore doon yung inyong mga files. Now, the random access memory, the specific files or data that the memory is storing is yung application nyo. Kaya nga sa inyong smartphones, pag ang RAM nyo ay maliit, konti lang yung application na pwede nyo ma-install. Now, let us look at in our task manager. You can open this in your Windows Task Manager. Let me show what a task manager looks like here. This is called your task manager. Your task manager, you can see here the different applications that you have already opened. Actually, sometimes nga makikita nyo rin dito yung virus na tumatakbo. Pero yung most virus ngayon, hindi na siya nakikita kahit sa apps. So from here, makikita natin your Google Chrome, may nakabukas na 17 tabs or windows. And that is using 1 gig almost of your memory. I have 8 gig of memory. So kaya nga as much as possible, if kahit mabilis ang computer mo, maliit naman ang memory mo, it will still lag. Why? Because it cannot open any more applications. Kaya you have to manage your applications. Kung hindi mo naman ginagamit, but since ginagamit ko lahat yan, I have to keep it open. So, the best way to do that is to upgrade your memory kapag naglalag. So, kapag maliit lang yung memory mo, so that is one reason naglalag yung memory mo. Naglalag yung PC mo. What are the other reasons? CPU cannot handle the requirements of your apps. Kung kailangan niya, kaya naglalag. Another thing, yung hard disk mo, punong-puno ng storage or na-virus na yung operating system mo. That's why you have to back up your files, reset, reformat to refresh your hard drives. Okay? So also when upgrading, you have to check the DDR type and the speed. For example, I want to upgrade my memory. So I have my memory here. So my memory is, let me see. So my memory, so using again your task manager, performance, you have your memory, DDR3. My DDR type is DDR3, installed ay 8 gig. So, actually, isa lang siya. Isang module lang siya. So that means, para ako mag-upgrade, bibili ako ng 16 gig na isang module ng memory. But it should have the same DDR type and the speed. So kung pupunta ako sa Shopee, I'm a Shopee guy. So punta ako kay Shopee. I want to upgrade my memory here. So pupunta ako kay Shopee. So ang hahanapin ko dapat ay DDR3, which is the same as my memory. DDR3, sorry. DDR3 it should be the same speed. However, don't forget that one of, sabi yan, so dim form factor. Meron palang dalawang form factor, the dim and the so dim. Yung so dim is for the laptop. Yung dim is for the desktop. So, kailangan ko ay so dim or laptop memory. So, this is your laptop memory. So, lumalabas, ang kailangan ko ay, wala naman 16 eh. So, hindi rin ako makaka-upgrade. There is no 16 gig DDR3, which is 1600. How do I double check kung kakayanin niyo yung iba? Kunyari ito, see? O, wala na. Yun na yung pinakamabilis. So, there's nothing more I can do. Sorry. I cannot upgrade anymore. So, there are 3 types. Common DDR3, yung past 2006 DDR3. For the past 10 years, si DDR3 na yung ginagamit. DDR4, mga around 5 years ago, nagkaroon yan. So, graphics cards. So, most of the motherboards already have audio and video. But if you want to work on video editing, gaming, you have to buy a graphics card talaga na mas mataas ang specification. These are the common interfaces for your for your graphics card. The VGA, the video graphics adapter. HDMI is your high definition multimedia or media interface, and DVI is a digital visual interface. Itong HDMI for the most LED TVs ngayon, smart TVs, HDMI na gamit. It contains audio and video. And DVI naman, yung mga large LED sa mga stage, you use DVI to provide output. Yun yung connector, DVI. Sa yung stage natin, yung LED natin sa AATF complex, that is a DVI. It uses DVI interface. Okay, lastly, the BIOS or the UEFI. BIOS is the old UEFI. BIOS is the basic input-output system. It manages the settings of all the devices installed in your motherboard or connected to your motherboard. UEFI is the new one that handles, meron na siyang graphics actually. Dati kasi puro text lang. It's text-based. With UEFI, the Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, meron na siyang graphics. Okay? So you use the BIOS. Una, if you're formatting the PC, you want to boot up with your USB, so you have to change the settings of the boot priority. Okay? Dito mo rin makikita kung nababasa ba yung memory na pinlog mo. Okay? Kapag hindi lumabas itong si BIOS, there must be a problem in your motherboard or its devices. Okay, so let us now have our computer assembly live demo. So let's have our live demo here. So let's start with an... So this is my rig. So actually, without your system casing, without your system casing, this is all. These are your system unit components. So you have your hard disk here. You have your power supply. Your power supply is connected to your AVR here. You have your memory here. So sige nga, one by one. So let's start with your power. So from the power source going to your AVR going to your power supply. Yes. Yes. Any question? None. Okay, sige. Let's continue. So this is your standard power cable, 3-pin power cable connected to your power supply. So from your power supply, you have your yung 48 pin power that supplies power to your motherboard. It also has a power for your processor here. It also provides power to your hard disk. So this one, this is called your SATA power connector. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, so as I've said earlier, there are two different types of power supply connector to your devices. This is the Molex. It provides power to your system unit fan. Nowadays, yun na lang yung sinusupply ng power. But for most devices, you use the SATA power. Also, you should provide a data connection. This one. You provide data connection from your motherboard going to your hard drive. So this one. That's it. So it's properly plugged in. This is actually an anti-static board because I've told you earlier, static discharge may ruin or damage your electronic parts. So we have your memory here. This is your memory. This one. So meron ding gold connector yan for faster conduction of electronic signals. You put it in there and it will snugly fit. The clicking sound. You heard the clicking sound? There it is. And also you have your VGA interface connected to your monitor. So what is connected to my motherboard ports? I have, this is your old connectors for keyboard and mouse, the PS2 interface. This is an older interface for mouse, serial interface. Old interface for, or port for printer. This is the parallel or printer port of old. I have my USB here. I have a USB dongle for my wireless keyboard and mouse. I have a Wi-Fi dongle for my network, but I don't want to put that there. So I have also my sound ports, microphone, speaker, line in. So I think we're ready to run. Let's run this rig. So let's turn this on now. So it's already have power. How can we turn on a motherboard that has no power button? So actually, this is where your power buttons are here, connected. So meron siyang parang ganito, saksakan ilalagay dyan. But since we don't have that, what we will do is to short circuit that pin. Okay? From there, it's now alive. Your computer is now alive. Now we will go to your BIOS to check the settings. Now, let's see what happens if some of the parts here in your motherboard is not properly connected. So let's turn this off again. Suppose I have put the memory. I forgot to put my memory. Sorry, I forgot to put it in my motherboard. So I have no memory in my motherboard. So what will happen? So again, there you go. Okay. Can you hear that? May naririnig?
Yes, sir.
I'll put the audio, Okay, it's beeping. Some motherboards, oh, sorry. I can hear it. Okay. So, some motherboards provide a beeping sound. Nagkakaroon siya ng beeping sound to tell you there must be a problem with your setup. Kaya, you can go to Google. So, if you're really an IT, you can ask almost anything from Google. So, you ask Google, Google, I have a Asus board here and I heard this beep. One beep, one long beep na continuous. So, it must be a memory problem. So, lalabas doon, a memory problem. And since alam naman natin, niloloko lang natin siya, so, ibalik na natin. Okay? So, there you go. So, power on. Let's short this. So, it's alive. Like the Frankenstein. Now, let us proceed to the BIOS. So, what can we do with the BIOS? Or the UEFI, basically. Some call it EFI kasi since UEFI is a universal extensible, ibig sabihin unified, minsan inaalis na nila unified, EFI na lang. Okay? EFI. So, EFI or BIOS utility. So, you can actually check the temperature here of your CPU. It's 42. Healthy. That's healthy. The correct voltage supplied to your CPU. Okay? The CPU fan speed. And also, meron dito mga settings na if you want to have a power saving, you have a normal performance, and you have your maximum or optimal performance. So I have to choose this. Another thing here, my time is what? Saturday, January 1, 2005. Now, there must be a problem with your motherboard because since motherboard is bought around mga siguro 2010, yung BIOS chip niya is created January 1, 2005. However, what supplies the timing kasi, last time I've already told you, there is a battery. And the battery is unfortunately dead. However, the good thing about Windows, kapag nakapasok na tayo kay Windows, ina-update na niya. Meron na kasi ngayon time server. Dati kasi wala pa, hindi pa uso yung internet. So there is no way for you to update that automatically. But Windows automatically updates your time. That's the good thing about Windows. Thank you, Windows. So let us now save our settings. And also kapag wala palang battery, hindi na save yung settings. So ang mangyayari, every time that you open your computer, the settings will reset to its default or original settings. So it's already running. Okay, so we can now proceed with how to upgrade your PC. Since mabagal yan, I don't want to use that anymore. It's Core i3 second generation. I don't want to use that anymore. Let's use my server. So let me share to you my server. Share screen. Screen 2. So this is my server. Okay, it's actually, I connect it using remote desktop connection. Ibig sabihin kahit na malayo ako, I have my Wi-Fi, my network, I can connect to my server. So let me, ayan, so that is the full screen of my server. Sabi ko kanina, there are 4 ways to upgrade your PC. Or there are 4 components to upgrade your PC. Unang-una is your, let's see, buksan natin si CPU-Z. There it is. Pwede ka mag-upgrade ng CPU. In my case, siguro kung gusto ko pa ng Core i9, ito ang i-check ko. You should check the package. Dapat yung motherboard ko will support the same package. Kaya kung mag-a-upgrade ako, bibili ako ng Core i9 na dapat pareho ang package. It should be socket 1151 LGA. Kaya tingnan natin sa Shopee. Shopee, meron ka bang Chrome dito? Chrome. Meron. Punta ako kay Shopee. Meron bang i9 na LGA 1151? Core i9 LGA 1151. Unfortunately, tingnan natin to. There is. Meron. So, murang-mura lang naman. 24,950. Okay. So, sabihin nyo na lang, mine, if you want to buy one. Of course, you have to send me your money first. Okay. So, next. What do I want to upgrade? My memory. So, you can also upgrade your memory. Sabi ko kanina, you check the memory type, DDR4. Tapos, since ito total lang naman to. Actually, I have, for every slot, ayan, ang slot, it should be DDR4 2666. So, ibig sabihin nun, kung gusto ko mag-upgrade for every slot, dapat 16 GB per slot. So, hahanap ako, DDR4, 16 GB na DDR4 26666. Again, Shopee, meron ka ba niyan? DDR4, ano yun? 16 gig. 16 gig, dapat 2666. Okay, meron naman pala. Ready stock daw siya. So, meron daw siya ng DDR4 16 gig na 2666. Now, sir, pwede bang yung 3,200 ang bilhin ko? O tingnan natin kay CPU-Z. Ano bang kaya ng mainboard mo? Ang kaya ng mainboard ko ay yan. Ang kaya ng board frequency ko ay 4,300. So, kaya naman pala. Kaya pa. So, yung 3,200 kakayanin niya. Understood? So, pwede kong bilhin tong mas mataas. Okay, next. Ano pa pwede kong upgrade? Si graphics card. So, si graphics card, i-check nyo kung ano yung, for example, DDR5 siya. DDR5, 4 GB. So, ibig sabihin, maghahanap ako ng mas mataas na memory for my video card. So, GDDR5 na 8 GB. Meron ka ba nun? GDDR5 na 8 GB or 6 GB. Baka may 6 GB pa. Yun. So, 6 GB GDDR5 graphics, DDR5, 6 GB. Pwede. 18,895. Say mine if you want it. Okay. So, hindi murang gumawa ng computer. Of course, matataas naman to, but nakuha nyo naman yung idea on how to look for parts. Okay? And finally, ano pa yung pwede natin? So, 4 yon. CPU, memory, graphics, and of course, yung inyong hard drive. So, yung hard drive nyo, currently, punta ako sa aking computer management. Okay. Last time, sabi ko sa inyo, pwede tayong mag-partition, right? Pero, in my case, I already have an SSD here. This is an SSD. Tingnan nga natin. Anong klaseng SSD ba yan? Kingston. Kingston na SSD. The other one is WDC na 4 terabyte. Now, suppose ito lang yung aking hard drive. So, we need to partition. Sabi ko sa inyo, for example, there is no way for you to add additional hard drives. Pwede ka naman mag-partition. So, hahatiin mo to. So, how do you do it? You use computer management here. After opening computer management, go to disk management. After disk management, you go to your hard disk. So, right-click, extend volume. Shrink. So, when we say shrink, hahatiin natin tong part na to. So, gagamit ka ng counting math. Alam ko, magaling naman kayo dyan. So, itong part na to, ito yung matitira. So, usually, kung malaki naman ang inyong hard disk, you can make use of siguro 100 gig for your operating system is enough. Kaya mag-alat nga tayo ng 100. Yan. So, basically, it's 117. Okay naman yan. 4 terabytes naman yung matitira, almost. So, from there, shrink. So, I have 2 drives now. Your OS. So, ifo-format ko na lang to. Can you answer this? Wait lang. Jeron. Okay, where are we? Okay, so, simple volume. Next, assign drive. Next. So, pangalan ko na lang, data. Next. Finish. So, I have now a new drive. So, meron na akong OS, meron na ako para sa data. Now, disclaimer, you do not do this in your computer without backing up. Since wala pa naman nakalagay na data dito sa aking disk 1, kaya-kaya kong gawin yan. Pero you do not do this without backing up your files. Because there might be a problem. Lalo, everything that you do, kapag may gagawin kayo sa inyong hard disk, you always back up your files. Okay? Any question? So next week, we are 3 minutes over time. Next week, we will have, wala tayong asynchronous ngayon. I'll just be giving you your PowerPoint. Etong PowerPoint na ginawa ko, I'll send it to you. As well as, I'll give you a link of of our recording so that you can preview it again. Para next time, we will have our online quiz. During the synchronous. Gusto ko makita yung mukha nyo while you are answering your quiz. So, don't worry, madali lang naman ang quiz sa computer. 40% lang naman ito. Ang mahalaga ay yung performance task nyo. In your performance task, we will be reformatting a virtual drive, a virtual computer. Wala tayong gagalawin sa inyong mga laptops or computer. Gagawa tayo ng isang virtual computer, doon kayo mag-reformat. That cool with you? Okay, so thank you for dropping in my channel. Stay safe. God bless. No more, wala na? There's no question? No question at all? No question at all? Okay, sige.
Thank you, Chen.
That's
Thank
enough.
you po.
Thank you po.
God bless po.
Bless
Eh,
Thank you po.
Okay.
God bless po.
God bless.
Bye-bye po. God
Bye-bye
bless.
po.